Hi, I'm Melissa Winters, Director of Education. I'm at the AQS QuiltWeek, and I'm with Ann Petersen, who won first place in the Large Quilt Home Machine category. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
That is such an honor, right?
Yes, it really is.
So tell us a little bit about this quilt. It's an original design. How did you come up with the blocks or the combination of the blocks?
Well, I do a lot of curved piecing, but I hadn't done a double wedding ring since I made a three-piece table runner like in '97, and at that point I said I was never going to do one again. And after I've been making things like this for years and years and years, it occurred to me I couldn't do a double wedding ring now. So I decided to combine. I'd seen these blocks in an antique quilt, and I just thought I'd play with the design. I drew this up in electric quilt to look like the ones in the antique quilt, and then put them into a double wedding ring and just tried to make it as contemporary as I could. Kind of like to play with traditional and contemporary.
Well, I think you definitely did that. Now, this has a specific name, though. So what?
That's
block
a Georgetown circle.
Oh, okay. And now, you didn't just do the double wedding ring. You actually is this all pieced?
Yes,
these little
those
strips?
are all pieced. I just had an arc pattern on freezer paper, and I just put a bunch of pieces on it, and it's like paper piecing, only you don't have to
Rip
tear
it away.
Yeah, you don't have to rip the paper off. You just take the piece off and can reuse it over and over.
Great.
And so then I could variegate the colors. So it's light rings in the center to dark rings on the outside, but it's light background on the outside to dark on the inside.
Well, the colors definitely pop. I mean, brown and pinks always do really well together. Now, it's not all the same type of fabric, though. So you have a mixture of fabric.
Well, the backgrounds are a silk cotton blend called Radiance, and these are hand dyed, except not all of them are, because I didn't have enough of the hand dyed in a grade A batch. And then the rings and the circles are all made of regular quilting fabrics. Lots and lots of commercial fabrics, some batiks, even some hand dyes. And then the centers of the circles are silk dupioni.
Well, wow, that's quite a mixture of the fabrics.
I like to mix everything up.
Lots
of fabric. The more fabric you put in a quilt, the happier I am.
Well, it's always good to have the maker happy.
Yes.
So, and I bet you have a really good stash then.
I have an excellent stash. And it gets much bigger with every quilt I make.
Of course. Now, you've also, besides piecing, you've also done some appliqué on here. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
There's three different kinds of applique. These dupioni circles in the center were appliqued down with a turned edge and invisible machine applique.
Okay.
And then in the border, the paisleys are done with fused applique with a machine blanket stitch, and then all of the little circles are done with hand applique with the turned edge.
Wow. So did you do the hand applique afterwards, or during, or when did you put the hand on?
When I made the border, I put those on.
Okay. And then you added the border to the center of the quilt.
Yeah. The border is actually big. It comes clear under here, and then I just put this on top of it. So actually that's another kind of applique. These are piped, and then it's just stitched in the ditch of the piping to hold it on, and then you have to go back and trim out the border so that it doesn't show through the light areas.
Oh, wow. So you have a lot of different techniques into
Well,
this
you
quilt.
got to kind of just see what works each step.
Right. That's okay. That's good, though. It's a gorgeous quilt.
Thank you.
Now, how did you come up with the free motion patterns?
Well, I decided that I kind of wanted the background to look like all of this was put on a brocade fabric. So I laid big pieces of paper on it and drew where I wanted the feather spines to go. And then when I got to a feather spine, I would just see where it was and I would draw that in. So like this one goes up and around, and so it goes through, and the stems are different they vary from several different methods so that you can kind of follow it if you want, so that it looks like it's underneath and it's all one piece of fabric. Was the idea I had to start with.
Well, it definitely does that. I mean, and this is all done on a home machine?
Yes, that's
How long
done.
did that take you?
Well, probably about 6 months to quilt it. This quilt took me 1.5 years to make, which is the longest I've ever spent on a quilt. A lot of that was all these intersections. This can't be put together the way a regular double wedding ring is, because these are whole circles, and a double wedding ring is usually just partial circles put together. So it was complex.
Would you make it again?
Not exactly the same, I couldn't possibly. No, probably not. I always want to do something new, so.
Yeah, me too. Once I've learned one technique, I like to move on to
Yeah.
another one. So I can understand that. Well, it's definitely a gorgeous quilt, Anne.
Thank
so
you.
thank you much for sharing with
Oh,
us.
my pleasure.